What's up, you guys? BEELINEMOTO here, and on today's video, starting out the gas station, as always, taking this bike on about a 4.5 hour trip down to my parents' place. This was probably one of the longest rides I've taken on this bike. I went down there and back. I had to go down there to pick some paperwork up and then run all the way back up here. So 4.5 hours, average speed of about 75 miles an hour. And I did realize that on the way down there, my fuel economy went from 34 to 36 miles a gallon all the way up to 41 miles per gallon on the highway. Granted, most of that time was spent sitting in about sixth gear, cruising 75 to 85 miles an hour. So kind of what you would expect for if you were doing extended highway trips. It was really comfortable to do this trip on this bike. I've done some longer trips like this on super sports, and after about 45 minutes on a super sport, especially at highway speeds where you're not really doing anything aggressive, pushing the bike over into corners or anything, the super sport will start to make your wrist, your lower back, and your tailbone pretty sore. But this bike, I did not realize that. I didn't even really have a whole lot of pressure in my tailbone or in my butt until I was almost an hour and a half on my way back up here. So that would have been about 3.5 hours of seat time within a day. So that really speaks to me to the comfort of this bike. The seat, I do want to get the comfort seat just to see what the difference is on it. But from what I saw and what I felt for the extended period that I spent on the bike, the seat was really, really nice, really comfortable. Didn't feel a whole lot of vibrations through it. Didn't have lower back pain. I was thoroughly surprised. But with that being a naked bike, there's not a whole lot of wind protection on this bike. I do have the AKRAPOVIC windscreen on it, which I will say helps quite a bit. All of the wind that I was getting was kind of the top of my neck and then the entire helmet, whereas if you didn't have that windscreen on the bike, I do remember riding this thing at higher speeds. You were feeling it from your belly button up, it felt like, and that's not fun, especially on a windy day. It can throw you around in ways that you're not ready for. So I do enjoy the AKRAPOVIC, and it did help quite a bit with the wind protection on this extended drive. The power on this bike it still blows me away with just how much torque this bike makes. For a 900cc triple, the bike itself, I was in sixth gear right here, and you can tell I'm kind of playing with this truck a little bit and trying to get around him. He didn't really want to let me past him, so I get past him here in sixth gear and just roll onto the throttle really quick. I'm not downshift or anything, and the bike, it takes off, and it takes off good. It takes off well. It feels really good, and it's predictable. It's not a twin bike where the power band doesn't reach you until 4 to 5,000 RPMs. This one, it constantly has power and it feels really good. The quick shifter on it, for a stock quick shifter, I think the only other bike on the market that compares to it, and I mean it's not even in the same price class, would be like an MV Augusta of some sort, because of how quick it responds, how smooth it is to respond, the fact that it's not jerky or anything. It is down low, first and second gear, but for highway cruising or anything, using the quick shifter is just as easy as pushing or pulling on that shift lever. We're not using the clutch a whole lot, but for when you are using the clutch, I did hit a few stop lights and a few stop signs on this trip. The clutch I still cannot get enough of, just how light but responsive, and you get feedback through the clutch lever is uncomparable to anything else to me at this price point. The bike, just the clutch on it feels amazing. The exhaust, I will say if I were getting this bike to do extended trips like this often, that would not be the exhaust I'm going for. The bike's not quite geared for that kind of extended riding at high speeds. So the RPMs are staying close to I believe it was 4,500 to 5,500 RPMs. The exhaust does start to rattle or start to drone quite a bit at that point. You get a lot of drone inside your helmet at high speeds and highway speeds with the Acura that doesn't have a catalytic converter or anything in it. Suspension feels really, really good. There's not a whole lot of bounce in it. I'm 200 pounds and it wasn't overly soft, but it wasn't overly hard. I wasn't worried about bouncing out of the seat or anything. The brakes feel amazing for a street bike. I mean, they're not track brakes by any means. They're not meant to be. The heat on the bike, I've ridden a couple of Ducatis, and the heat on this bike is amazing in the way that it feels. There's not any heat really that I was feeling in my legs, in my feet, in my thighs. Just an all-around great, comfortable bike for mainly highway or mainly city hooning, but if you were to jump on the highway, it'll be a fun bike to do so. Thanks for watching. If you want to see any more updates on this bike or what else I've done to it, be sure you are subscribed and turn your bell notification on to be notified when I post in the future.